Hello and welcome to Cable Plus Property, your number one online educative platform on all issues related to land and landed properties. My name is Oiza, and as always, I always love to be here, to get you educated and informed. This is where we provide you with every information you need to know about building construction, acquisition, documentation, registration, and even obtaining your planning permit. So you can be sure that on Cable Plus Property, you're getting first-hand information on anything related to land and landed properties. In this episode, I'll be speaking with the immediate past general manager of the Lagos State Fiscal Planning Permit Authority, no other than Town Planner Fumi Oshifuye. Come with me. Okay. How is the government fee payable for the grant of a planning permit calculated?
Pardon? Sorry.
The government fee payable for the grant of a planning permit, how is it calculated?
Let me just give you the framework of that.
Okay.
It's just, we are talking about massing here. Massing, that is how big your building is. So it is a prorated thing. Okay. If you have a small building, you will pay less. If you have a big building, medium building, you pay in that realm.
Wow.
So it is length times breadth times height.
Okay.
Multiplied at certain rates. There's a rate for residential, there's a rate for commercial, there's a rate for industrial, there's a rate for Greek, which is at abysmally low because of the nature of what they are producing. We cannot add to their problems. They are food basket of the nation, so we cannot add to their problem. So more or less they are paying administrative charges. And what do they pay for there? It's actually the farmhouse, so to say. So when you know your length times breadth times height, multiplied by that rate, and some little charges that goes with it, like fencing permit, like forms that you fill, you pay for that form, and some little things that you pay.
Are the rates accessible to the public? Like
it's on the portal.
Okay.
Everything is transparently put. It's on the portal. It's uploaded on the portal.
Okay. All right, sir. Our next question is, what does a condonation planning permit mean?
I had earlier mentioned it. I mentioned that a building in existence that is seeking a validation from government, and when it's now looked at, a decision needs to be taken. Should we give permit? Should we not give permit? Should we give halfway permit? So let me say condition is more or less an halfway permit. That as long as this building is there and it's not disturbing the environment, it's not disturbing the public peace, or not disturbing the public infrastructure, right? Let it be condoned as long as it's there. But the problem there is that if in future government wants to use where we want to use the part or where it lies, government is not going to pay any compensation for it. Because number one, it has not met all the compliance parameters of the full permit. It's only been allowed to stay as long as it does not affect the environment or its neighbor.
Wow.
But if government wants to use that place for public purposes, that building or the developer of that building will not be given any compensation.
So what is the position of the developer or the landowner or the owner of the building in this state?
Some of them, they prefer, okay, if it is not going to be removed, as long as it does not fall in the corridor of utilities, public utility or infrastructure, and the government is not coming to expand road or to take anything through it, and they can still use the place maybe for another 50, 60 years during his lifetime, he will be okay with it. He will be okay with it.
Wow.
After all, the CFO is only for 99 years. And in some cases, I've seen the CFO 50 years. After which is renewable. Government may not renew it for you.
Okay. Let's talk about your tenure. Is electronic planning permit in operation? Was it in operation during your tenure in the office? And if yes, what is it all about and how can the public benefit from it?
Yes, I would say that before I was appointed as the general manager of the place, I happened to be the very few hands gathered together to start the e-planning permit. Far away from LASPPPA, we were actually doing it for the whole ministry, so that we can use it for layouts of division. We can use it for all the processes of the ministry and its MDA. So, but the very one on our heart then was for the permit processing. We initially call it a development permit processing system, DPPS. We now change it and call it a e-planning permit now. And I would say that we started from our little ways, and from time on it has been improved, and lacquer handshake is now also coming in now. And I want to believe, I think I heard that it will soon get to the point that everybody can now, from your comfort of your homes, you can log in and do your business transaction on this payable permit. But by and large, I think for it to be comprehensive, really, would be to have operative land administration system in Lagos State.
So it's not fully fledged at the moment.
It's being used, but it's not that's not you know, in Singapore where it was started, we were told that they did it for almost 15 years before they got to where they are now. So the improvement continues. So I won't say that that's the last bus stop for it. It has to continue, and we are going to have a robust a program at the end of the day for it.
Okay, I'm tempted to ask what the likely timeline is for it to become very operational.
I am not in government now.
Okay, sir. All right, still talking about your tenure, your office embarked on action plans for some communities before you retired from service. Would like to know more about this exercise and how it can help the public.
Yeah, you know, I mentioned something about government acquisition initially. Most government acquired areas that are committed are usually covered with government schemes. That is layout. You see your plots, you can say this is my plot, this is the street, and things like that, like a Lekki scheme 1, like a Magudo, and things like that. These are committed government acquired areas. But let me say that almost about 80 or 85% of Lagos State land are not in that category. They are in free land, in the hands of Omonile, sold to you, sold to everybody. So the coordination of all this is a big problem. Hobby that we still have development plans or master plans or district plans covering all these areas, but the scale at which they are is a scale of we can chart. This is where this land falls, maybe a small dot, and it falls. You see now that when you are looking at it, it falls within a green. A green means vegetation. But by the time you now blow out the scale, you'll be able to see some level of villages inside that green. Right. That is where you want to go, to that level, the level of a street level, that you can now see your building, your plot when a layout is being drawn. So, and when you do that, it gives you a good information and a decision for the officer that is handling that processing. I will say that, okay, this block 1, plot 2, you know. But in where there is no scheme, you cannot know. In fact, if your plot falls at the borderline, you may not know whether it is in a vegetation or it is in an institutional zone. Because a line will just pass through these two categories of land use, right? But even for that, if there's an action area plan for that area, you will know whether it is in a really is in a institutional or is in a vegetation. You understand? That is what we are talking about. So we now took it upon ourselves that apart from few ones that we found out to some consultants to do for us, I also put in place that for every district office, they must give us one action area plan half yearly. And I learned that the ones that I did last is going to be assigned into a usage any moment from now.
Wow,
Probably
that's
today, somebody
impressive.
told me probably today or next week, they are going to almost about a 35 in all.
Wow.
For every district offices, they must give us one. For the next 6 months, you must produce another one. By the time we are doing that, you will find that the whole of Lagos State will be covered with a very large scale, low scale maps.
Close to the people.
Close to people, and you can see where the roads passes through. Not that you are approving a building on a road, or you are approving a building on a cemetery. You will have seen it on that scale, and it will inform the decision maker that I can approve this plot for the person.
So with the action plans,
Yeah.
when they eventually become effective and in usage,
Yeah.
A developer, for example, can come to the district office and he can tell you exactly where
what.
your
Yeah,
plot is.
exactly. Yeah. So it's also beneficial to the members of the public.
Wow.
To take informed decisions.
Wow, that's impressive. Okay, sir. Moving on. If an applicant rather is not satisfied with the decision of LASPPPA and LASPPPA, where can such a person appeal?
The law provides for that. They call it Lagos State LASPPPA LACA Appeals Committee. Sincerely, I want to thank the Mr. Governor, the Commissioner for Physical Planning, for having that a good the willpower to institute this. For a long time, I served 33 and a half years in service. I did not witness any until towards my passing out that this thing came on board. At least I think the people that are occupying that appeals committee are spending about 2.5 years or the third year, which is their term. And they have been doing marvelously. I have also been to them. They have invited me. What is my own story about some petitions against us, or as a witness to certain petitions and the decisions have been taken by this appeals committee. And it consists of professional bodies representatives, town planner, architect, engineers, quantity surveyors, lawyers, and the rest are there.
And representatives of the government.
And the representatives of the government, maybe as a secretariat. Yeah, they are there. And they are working marvelously. The only thing I just pray is that they should have their own building structure, so that because as you say them, they are more or less on the level of more or less magisterial jurisdiction. Because if you say, if whatever they give, any decision they give there, and it's not going down well with you, you can go to high court to appeal it.
Okay. Thank you for that, sir. Okay, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back on the show.
Cable Plus Property, the hub of professionals in the built environment and the #1 online educative platform on all issues related to land and landed property. At Cable Plus Property, our aim is to ensure that all Nigerians and non-Nigerians have at the tip of your fingers, free of charge, all information on landed matters. We provide you with all information you need to know about land procurement, land documentation and development, planning permit procurement, building construction, and so on. Join us today for free by subscribing to our YouTube channel, like and follow us on our social media platforms, and check us on our website www.cableplusproperty.com. Together, we shall make our environment better. Spend and build right.
Hi, welcome back. This is still the Cable Plus Property Show, and I still have with me in the studio Town Planner Fumi Oshifuye, the former General Manager of LASPPPA. Change of use of buildings from approved plan or use is common and challenging. How can the government manage this from your wealth of experience?
In the past, there were lots of change of use indiscriminately. Let me use that. Although there are studies before those change of uses could be approved, but at a point it actually stopped. Okay. Because if I refer to it as change of use, I refer to it that what government has assented to, that this plot should be changed in use, but not the one that everybody changes indiscriminately out there. So I don't count that. Those ones are illegal activities. But the one that government signs off, yes. But again, we should also be mindful that human beings are also organic. We are born, we grow, we die. That is how city also operates. So this is what they call dynamics of the city or the settlement. What used to be residential in the past may not be so again. May become a mix, at least a mix, or at best a mixed use zones, whereby you can live, you can work, you can recreate. Unlike a place that have been secluded or excluded as a residential suburb, and a place that has been secluded or excluded as commercial suburb. What happens to those places at night? They become a ghost town. So if you see even the plans of Abuja, you find that amongst the residential neighborhood, you still see some pockets of maybe passive offices. You see some hotels also interspersed within residential areas, and they cohabit very well, as long as things like infrastructure like parking are amply provided. There's no problem. They can cohabit and live like, and these are the way they have been living in the so-called Western world. You will find that where you live, you can come down, buy certain things, go back to your apartment. But it shouldn't be that a purely residential area. So that's why reviews of plans are also ongoing. When you see that there are a lot of yearnings for certain things in certain area, you throw it to the people. That's what we call it government public participatory approach. So they will tell you what they want in this area, and if you see some signs that some are changing, you look at it on its own merit. If it could be accepted, you agreed, and you now imbibe it in your plans. I will tell you, there are some areas before that they used to be residential streets. A residential street that is as long as 2 kilometers. Do you want to allow that place should be residential street? No, that place becomes a thoroughfare. And what do you see in such a places? First of all, you start by seeing some retailing shops at the front. Before you know it, becomes a supermarket. Then the warehouses and things like that. And government has looked at it and said, okay, why can't we change this route, become a highway or mixed development zone? And you find that even government itself finds that traffic around this place is now becoming a more and more on a daily basis. I think this carriageway has to be expanded. They expand. By the time you are doing all this, then you are calling for the values of people. That okay, let this becomes a change from what it used to be to new uses. At best, change of uses start to arrive. But individually, within residential suburb, I don't agree. And that's why in most cases it happens within residential areas. That's why you see most of this change of use
Change of
occurs.
use.
So if you are doing your own without making any recourse to government, it is illegal. But there are some reviews that government does that they also put in the development plans, and it comes out as model city plans and things like that. These are good ones. These are acceptable change of use lands, and they become part and parcel. Now, if your land falls, your plots fall within those belts or corridor, because you are given residential approval, but it has been upgraded to you for either commercial or misuse corridor, you need to go to government and validate your property if you want to benefit from that improvement.
Again.
Yeah, you need. Yeah, of course now. Because if I get to your place now, what I normally see is just a room in front, and I can see that room has become shops. It can become another thing entirely. You have even changed the whole flat at the front to become office. So you want to cheat government? No, don't let government cheat you. You should not cheat government. So go to government and regularize, and they will give you your misuse deployment.
Okay, sir. So the last question as we round off, you retired as a general manager for LASPPPA. Now you are a planning consultant. So we'd like you to please share your experience with our audience, particularly those in service and the young planners, stating how government policies are influencing directly or indirectly the practice of the planning profession in Lagos State.
Yeah, thank you. I think government has its vision.
Okay.
Government has its goal, and one of those things is to make Lagos friendly, economical, and a place to live in peace. And under this goal, every MDAs or sectors of the state also hinge in, and there are different policies, sectoral policies. But what I found, I want to say that Lagos is doing well in a good direction regarding this. In fact, it's one of the states, I think it's the only state that has a development plan for its state, 2012 to 2025. And before I left service, they have been also pushing the target date forward and reviewing this document. There are policies, and the policies are, to me, at best, about 90% compliant to what is in that document, except some gray areas, maybe due to some new MDAs being established, and their policies needs to, some MDAs their policy needs to be harmonized, because I could see some duplication of some policies here and there. And my advice is that planners coming up and planners in service, before they take any decision, they need to be very abreast with all these policies. Don't take a unilateral decision. Because, for example, in some related planning MDAs, like lands, like Survey General, like Minister of Transportation, Housing, these are land-related family in budgeting. I found that one needs to be very conversant with what their policies are looking like, because some of them are duplications. Some of them you do not know what is happening, and by the time you take a decision while you are sitting, you do not know that there are social decisions that actually impinging or going against what you are deciding. So some of these policies needs to be harmonized, and the man at the center of it, I mean, as a planner, needs also to be very conversant of such areas, not to be non-foul of a government efforts.
Interesting. Wow, it's been a really insightful and educative session with you. Thank you so much, sir. But before we finally round off, my last question for this episode is: would like you to say something about the Cable Plus property endeavor? Give us pieces of advice, and also encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I've been a lover of a Cable Plus property.
Wow,
Yes,
that's
yes, yes.
impressive.
And there's no time that even with some discussions that are outside my discipline, I actually take time to read through them because I learn a lot from all this.
Wow,
And
thank you.
in fact, you have been seen as a feedback voice to government, even to the people. And I want to say kudos to you. Please keep it up.
Thank
I pray that your endeavor will be much bigger than this. In so long a time, you find that you'll be competing with the best in this profession.
Amen. Thank you very much, sir. And again, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
I do.
It's very free. Thank you so much. And that was another mind-blowing session. I trust that you have been educated in simple and clear terms. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. It's free. Yes, very free. Hit the subscribe button, like the video, turn on notifications, and also share this video with friends, family, and colleagues. You can also head on to our social media pages on Instagram and Facebook at Cable Plus Property. My name is Oiza, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.